This is not a very happy video, but I feel it's an important one. Sailing the soul of Italy this time of the year was pretty rough. It went rapidly from calm sunny mornings to unpredicted real fall weather and thunderstorms. Yet that was not the worst to us on this coast. Already in Rochella it became clear to us something was wrong, as the quay was lined with abandoned boats. But we did not get the full picture as it evolved to us the upcoming weeks. We didn't really know from the beginning, but it turns out those boats that turns into wrecks in no time. It's not by accident they ended up here. It's not an owner that stopped to care about their boat. So we found out this is the new type of smuggling of people from mostly Afghanistan that comes here. So they have this luxury travel trip they can take here, and it might sound like this is a safer option than some of the other boats that you have seen, but we learned that they put about 2 persons per foot of a boat. So a 45 feet boat will carry around 90 persons crowded down below where nobody could be seen, with barely no water and food, and the trip from Turkey to here, it's about several days to up to a week. And then the skippers abandon the boats shortly from shore with nobody left to handle them, so they mainly crash on the shores and get laid down there until somebody takes care of it to pull the boats off, and then they end up on the quay here. There is also a refugee camp just next to the marina, so it's really heartbreaking to see. And then on top of that, good boats just end up to rotten and degrade here. They are in such a bad shape after only a short amount of time. And just to think about people that make so much money on other people's lives. So what we heard is about 500,000 euro per tour they make from Turkey to here. So it's a lot of money that people spend on escaping something and hoping for a better life here in Europe. So let's hope they do. And we also heard that they are only staying in the refugee camp for about 2 or 3 days until they are moved to different parts in Italy. So we don't really know that much about how good reception they have, but it seems like this small town that only has around 3,000 people at least do as good as they can to take care of hundreds of people that comes here. But the boats, I think there is just not enough resources to take care of, it seems. So I don't know how much more of this we will see when we continue going east from here. But I think this is one of the main places. Sadly, it was only the beginning, and we came to learn more about the problem as we carried on. When we left for what we didn't know to be one of our roughest days at sea, at least we did it in a boat we felt safe in and could only imagine the fear of being out of control and locked under deck. That was worse than expected. It got so wet. It was gusting 38 knots, but it's offshore wind, so it's quite okay, and we are very coastal, and we're not going very far. And we have a beam reach, but it was really hard to see something. It was just white in front of us from all the rain. Now Gunnar has the helm for a while, and he's a bit more lucky.
Lovely! Lovely Saturday morning!
It feels like it was only 30 minutes ago we had a lovely rainbow and having breakfast in the sun, and We're making about 6 to 6.2 knots with this tiny little piece of, out. And we are closing up on port, about 4 miles left, so we really look forward. As soon as we entered the port in Gallipoli, the same sight met us, and we soon learned even more about the problem. Yesterday we had a visit from Guardia Finanza. They wanted to check our papers. It's the customs here in Italy. And it was a very nice officer, so I spoke to him a little bit about, because we can also here in Gallipoli see the refugee boats. They are behind me at the pier. And he told me like the main thing they check on is the insurance, that we are insured to sail in the Mediterranean, because they have a lot of problems if boats end up causing damages or being damaged and they are not insured. And that's obviously also the cases with those refugee boats. And he told me from the beginning they tried to sell them, because when they first arrive they are in pretty good shape, but they degrade fast when they're just left at the piers. But it's not possible anymore to sell those boats, so they have to destroy them, because the criminals buy them back for a really good price, and then it just continues and goes on and on, so they make more tours with the same boats. So nowadays it's forbidden to sell them, so the only thing left to do is to destroy the boats. So it makes it even more sad to see, but of course I understand it, because they cannot feed this criminality that jeopardizes lives of hundreds of people. But Gallipoli also had many beautiful sights.
As we say in Sweden. There you go.
Gracias. And we got really fooled on some crayfish, as the bill turned out way higher than the price we had been told at the counter.
Thunderstorm approaching in that direction, so we are attaching these cables, so if we get a lightning strike we will dissipate that into the water.
We're a bit unlucky, there is no thunder in the forecast, and we had wind from starboard first, and then it came a thunder weather on our port side and got against the wind, and it just rolled in front of us, and then it changed the wind for us, so now we have wind from port, and now we have the thunder on our starboard, but it's still coming closer, so not so happy at the moment. Also, at the moment we are motor sailing to try to get away from it as far as possible. So the sun is shining, but that's not helping a lot. But I think we actually are moving a little bit away from the worst of the weather. Kolla där! When reaching Loka, we were no longer surprised by the remains of the smugglers' boats. But it didn't make it any easier to take in. It's really heartbreaking to see. And this type of smuggling increases all the time, since it's harder for the coast guards to identify. The smugglers do their best to look like recreational sailboats, but for sure those boats are much more heavily loaded to at least make some visual identification. Although this video has a tragic content, I hope you appreciated it. If so, please give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, and join us next week as we take on more of the beautiful town Loka before it is time for something new. If you'd like to support the making of more episodes, you can buy me a coffee at the link below.